Hello, welcome to Microsoft Dynamics 365 Finance and Operations tutorial series. In this series we are talking about table, and particularly in this video we'll talk about initValue method. So without wasting time, let's start. So first we will understand that what is initValue method. So in this slide you can see that initValue initialize a field to the default value. Okay, default value means when we create a table and after that if we'll open it in the browser, so that time if you want to initialize value of a particular field, then you can use this initValue method. So in this method you can initialize the field. Suppose in your table you have 3 or 4 fields, and if you want to initialize all the fields, then you can use this particular initValue method. Okay, and the next point is, if we create a new record from the table browser or a form, the table method initValue is actually executed. So I'll show you how this initValue actually executes, and I'll create it and I'll show you. So in this slide you can also see the syntax for X++ programming language. So the return type you can see, the modified access modified is public. This means this method is accessible from anywhere, and the return type is void. It means it returns nothing, and this is the name of the initValue, and you can see it is not taking any parameter. So this is the syntax of the initValue. Now I will show you how you can create initValue, or you can override the initValue method. So let's start. So now you can see that we have a project Visual Studio table method example, and you can see that one base name is there, answer designation, and one table is there. And if you open the table, you will be able to see that few fields are there: name, basic salary, and designation. The name field is a string field, basic salary also string field, and the designation field is actually a enum field. And you can see that we have specified here enum type is answer designation. That means we are using this particular answer designation enum in our table. And this particular field is system generated field, which is the sys row version number. If you want to create the initValue method, so you have to override it. So how you will do that? You can right click on the override, and after that from here you can see all the method which is available to override, and from here you can see that initValue method is there, so you have to click here. So if you click, you will be able to see this particular code, and for each and every table you will be able to see a class, and on that class the code will be written over here. So here you can see that this is the name of the table, nothing but the name of the table, which is actually class, and it is extending the common. So the initValue is the method from the common, and we are overriding the base class initValue in this particular table. So if you want to initialize, you can write the code over here. For example, in employee table we have a field. Okay, so if you initialize this dot name, you can select the name over here, you can select the salary, basic salary. So if you want to initialize the basic salary with a certain amount, you can do that. For example, initializing the value with this particular value. Then after that, also you can also initialize all the fields which is having, for example, this dot name, and then you can give the value like this. So name will get the value. After that you can also initialize your third field. For example, this dot designation. So if you'll give the dot, and after that designation D, this one, the last one you have to select, and after that you have to call the enum, that is actually answering designation, and after that you can access all the elements for the answer designation. So you can select here this value. So initially, but we have not built this particular table, but at this point of time, if you will create, you can see that it is taking the answer designation by default, but it is not taking the basic salary name here. And if there will be a enum, then the first element will be automatically assigned over here. But if you click save, you can see that one record is created with the engineer enum value, but you can't see that we are not giving any we are not getting any initial value for the basic salary, also for the name. Okay, but when we'll build and run the code, you will be able to see that it will get, whenever we will click a new element or new record over here, it will initialize, it will call the initValue method, and it will initialize the value of each and every field. So we will see that. So before that, I'll change this to doctor. Okay, and after that I will sync the project. So I'll sync the database, so the database will sync, and after that we will build and we'll show the result. So from here you can see that database synchronization completed. Now just right click on the project and just build it, and you can see that build started, and it will take some time and it will build. Here you can also see that build also completed. So now we will right click on the table and we'll open it in the table browser one more time, and I'll show you how it is actually initializing the fields. And now you can see that our program executed and our table is opened. Now if you click in the new button, you can see that it is initialized with 12,000 and with the enum value doctor and the name with room 1. So if you will click new again, you will be able to see that it is initializing with the same value. So if you will click again, it will create the record with the initial field. So from this behavior you can easily understand the purpose of the initValue method, and interviewer can ask you that when the initValue method is actually called. So whenever you will click the new button, or if you will click one new record in the table, then each and every time this particular method, initValue method, is actually calling, or it is actually called, and whatever value you will initialize on that particular method, those fields will be initialized with that particular value. Okay, so I hope the concept of initValue method is clear now. You can also apply the condition before the initialization. For example, in this code you can see that we are initializing 3 different fields, but at this point of time I want to apply a condition that if the designation value is doctor, then his salary will be 12,000. If the designation value is the engineer, then his salary will be 10,000. So how we can apply this kind of condition? So for that I'll remove the code, or I will just mark it as a comments, so it will not affect our rest of the code. and after that we will write our code. So now you can see that we have applied two different if condition to apply different condition, that this dot designation, if it's engineer, then the basic salary, this dot salary equal to 10,000. This means I am saying that this means this table instance. Okay, this instance means the table itself, and the table dot the basic salary means the field of the table, basic salary field of that table. So it will initialize to 10,000, and after that if I am giving one more condition, that this dot designation equal to ansari doctor, if someone will select the doctor, then the basic salary will be 12,000. Okay, so I'll save it and I will build the project one more time. So you can see that build is completed. Now we'll open the table. So now you can see that if I'll click the new button, and you can see that by default the value of the designation is engineer, that is why the basic salary is 10,000. So if you click over here and if you want to change the doctor, so this time you can see that value not change. If you want that, I'll select the doctor and the basic salary will change, then you have to use a different function or different method, that is actually modified field. Okay, that at the time of initialization, you know that by default it will take the first element of the enum, so that is why it is initializing the value 10,000. But if you want to change it, if you want that whenever I'll click the new, it should not take the engineer, it should take the doctor. So then first you have to open this particular line. So initially this will assign the value with the doctor, and this time it will not execute this particular condition, but it will execute this particular condition. So for that you have to build the project and you will be able to see the result. So I'm just clicking on the build and then I will show you. So you can see that our build process completed. Now you can open the table one more time. So our code executed and you can see that our table open. So at this point of time, if you click the new, you can see that it is taking the doctor and it is based on that doctor value, it is initializing the basic salary 12,000. So if you click again the new button, so you can see that doctor, it is selected as a doctor and it is initialized with the basic salary initialized with the 12,000. But you can see there is no name because we have not initialized this value. If you want to initialize this one also, then you have to uncomment this particular line and this one, so it will initialize the name also. So one more thing I want to say that, so once the record created, if you want to change the value doctor to engineer, so at this point of time you can see that this particular basic salary value not changed. So if you want to change it dynamically after the creation of the object, so you have to use a different function, that is modified field, or another method is there, modified field value is there. So you have to write the code for the modified field. So if you want to add this feature, so whenever I'll select the doctor or engineer, based on that the basic salary should change, then please see our next video. There I have explained about this point, so how you can achieve this functionality. If you want to learn that, you can see the next video. So thanks for watching this video. I hope the concept of initValue method is covered. You understood the concept of initValue, what is initValue, when it is called, and how we can utilize the initValue, and which scenario we should use the initValue. We just covered all these points. So if you have any question, you can write it in the comment section. We'll try to solve your problem as soon as possible. So thank you again. See you in the next one.